Hello, welcome everyone to Love, Sex, and Leadership. I am very excited to have a friend who's had some good journeys with in this last couple of years. His name is Rasmus. He's a amazing business owner. He's run many successful workout gyms in Denmark. He's been the chairman of multi-international businesses and organizations, and now is really doing a lot of men's work. A few years back, I was supporting him, which was a beautiful memory, supporting him on his 50th birthday with several of his friends and colleagues from around the world, and just an incredibly heart-centered man that's a father, that's present, that has a desire to give back to men in his community and really be an inspiration moving forward, and very excited to have him on the show. So welcome, Rasmus.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So maybe just share a little bit about yourself and part of the thing we talked about on the show is around conscious leadership and your journey with, running gyms and being a leader in that side, especially from the business side, and some of what your journey has been the last, 10 years or so.
Well, it's not only 10 years because I'm almost turning 52. So it's
Well,
about
a little bit longer
25
than
years
that.
ago since I dove in. um, I've been very actively engaged in the health and fitness sector for the past 25 years, and it actually stems out of my past in the elite sports. I used to be on the Danish national karate team, and when we traveled the world, we often used gyms to prepare before competition. So we borrowed their group exercise studio, and we did the karate to adjust for time zones, for instance. And when we went, for instance, to the US, the gym industry was far more advanced than it was in Denmark. At the time, it was more like the bodybuilding industry in Denmark than the health and fitness industry. So I was at the time studying to become a market economist, and I wrote my final paper on creating a Danish health club chain based on the international experience that I had from traveling. That meant including all generations and children and many for people of all ages and sizes. And that basically became the foundation, those thoughts, for what later became the largest health club group in Denmark, which I did with two partners. I was pretty young at the age. At the time, sorry, I was 25, I believe, when I dove into this. But I've always been really driven by passion in regards to helping other people live healthier, happier lives. And it started with exercise. Then a few years back, I then became the chairman of a very large Danish company that provides a platform for coaches that help with nutrition and exercise. So I added the exercise piece. And then going through a very challenging divorce myself, I came to understand it doesn't really matter much if you have a six-pack or if you eat right. When life hits you hard, you really need tools in your toolbox. And that basically forced me to do the work that I had been avoiding through working really intensely. So I was very passionate about what I did, but I also used my work to numb myself. I used my sport, my elite sport, to numb myself. And so I'd basically been outrunning my childhood trauma for years and years. And to the outside world, it looked like healthy ambition, but what it really was, and a part of it was passion, but a part of it was outrunning things. And at that time, I just couldn't outrun things anymore. And that basically is why we met each other, right, at a retreat where you helped me tremendously with some of the work that I hadn't done. So, a lot of leadership within health and fitness, and then more and more coming home to myself, being forced to come back to myself and do the work.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I'd love to kind of unpack more of, a lot of men in this field as CEOs and running businesses, and, go through the journey of divorce and kind of building up something and having kids and having wife, and then recognizing it in some ways it crumbles. I'd love to hear kind of maybe a few of the moments when you recognize the time when this life that you had built, that you had created with the woman you love, you realized that there was a fork in the road and something was shifting. Like, what were some of the inner dialoguing that was happening at that time to kind of recognize that a change was necessary?
There's a Danish philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard, who says life is lived forwards but understood backwards. And there's so many
Mm,
things I understand now, but I didn't really understand as I was living it.
mhm,
Basically, as I built all these successful businesses, I crashed all my relationships during it.
mm,
And
mhm,
for me, I just remember the feeling of, oh, I'm in a relationship, but I still feel empty inside. There must be something wrong with my partner. So I
mm,
changed partner and I changed partner, and the feeling stuck with me. And
mhm,
obviously, also because I had to work so much to outrun my own trauma, I couldn't be fully present
mhm,
in the relationship. And obviously, the relationship didn't really have the foundation to flourish.
mm,
Um, those are things that I see clearly now. Um, but I believe I was so blinded by building, and I also gave myself the excuse, more or less, well, I'm the provider. So I have to create this because you want me to pay the bills and you want me to do this and that. So you need to give me space to do all this, basically. Don't get in my way while I'm outrunning my demons, please. And then I found a good excuse of why they shouldn't get in my way. And I also,
mhm,
not only for them, but also for myself, um, that I think these things are complex, right? Because the fact is, I lost
mm,
my mother when I was 16. She got very ill with cancer when I was 15. And I remember she
mhm,
wanted to do an alternative treatment, and we didn't have money for that. So for me, not
mm,
having money means you will die or somebody close to you may die. So
mm,
for me, building businesses and have financial success was also, it was a lot about security, financial
mhm,
security, that
mhm,
I would be able to take care of those who are closest to me, because I wasn't. I was 15. I couldn't pay for my mom's treatment, and I felt
mhm,
powerless. So for
mhm,
me, I would
mhm.
never want to be in that situation again. So part of me was also chasing financial security.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but like what I see with, a fair amount of successful businesses and CEOs is there's this desire to create, to similar to what happened to you, to kind of fulfill that wound that you had from.
Mm.
And, and I guess a certain point came with, as much as you're continuing to create, there was a bit of an emptiness underneath. There was a bit of a, like, as much as I have, I don't still actually feel full inside. And for the men that are seeking, they're coming to you, that are seeking more support, where's the shift that allows them to recognize that the values that they're driving for, and more money and supporting and being a bigger provider, and where's the shift when they recognize that maybe one of the biggest values is having family around them, and that if they don't actually put time and energy into it, then it's just going to be another thing that fades away. Because I see a lot of men in that place, like they have that wound inside. They run a healthy company. They're moving ahead, but then they realize that as much as they're doing that, they're just creating other wounds because of the wound that they've been trying to cover up.
No, for sure. I think, and I've spoken to other successful business owner about the same, that we basically wish that we could share the feeling of having accomplished what most men believe is happiness.
Mm, mm.
We had a
So that
slight cut off,
most
but I
men believe,
believe we're back.
yeah, most men believe that happiness
Yeah,
is
no,
all of that accomplishment, but it's actually not.
no, that I had a boat in the harbor. I had my Aston Martin in the garage and a Harley, and more cars, and I lived in this big, beautiful house overseeing the ocean. I had millions in the bank.
Hmm.
But when my life fell apart, none of that helped. there's somebody coined an expression, I'd rather cry in a Ferrari, and it just, I promise you, it didn't help me much to cry in an Aston Martin. It was horrible. The only thing, but you know, the thing about money is, if I think about it, it gave me the freedom to do a tantra retreat, for instance, that we did together. I could take the time and I could spend the money, and I could take me to Costa Rica more times to do ayahuasca retreats as well. I hired the best private trainer. I could hire you to come celebrate my birthday and facilitate for other men to open up their world. So for sure, finances gives you opportunities and freedom, and more than anything, I remember my girlfriend said to me, "You're the richest person I know, not because I am financially the richest, but because I can spend so much time with my children." And I think
beautiful.
that's super beautiful. And so I do strongly believe that men have, in general, an idea that if I get this car, if I get this job, if I get this house, if I get this amount, if I get this body fat percentage, all these things will make them happy, only to realize that when they reach it, it doesn't change much. It changes something for a little while, but only for a very little while. Because everything that really makes you happy is inside of you, not outside of you. So, and I think there was a palliative nurse, Bonnie Rare, who wrote this book, 5 Regrets of the Dying, and none of it has to do with anything financial or physical. It's all about your relationships. And actually, the longest study ever conducted on longevity and happiness, a Harvard study that is going on the 85th year, something like that, proves very clearly that it's the quality of your relationship that is the number one determining factor for your lifespan and your happiness. So but what we men chase this illusion, oh, we have to have the money, then we will get this and that, and we'll be so happy. But we're chasing an illusion.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember for myself when after I finished at the Maritime Academy, I went in to take a very high paying job in New York City working for a maritime brokerage firm, and I went in, I did the interview. It was all, in the direction of things I thought I wanted, and I took a walk outside. I remember looking at the park bench and and seeing people sitting on the park bench, looking at people passing by, and I just saw this level of emptiness. I saw this level of the people not quite there, and it was just like chasing, 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 chasing. And something shifted with me in that time. I was 23 at the time, and it was just this place of recognizing and appreciating that I wanted more than just chasing and wanting money. I mean, I'm successful now. I have 3 beautiful properties and a great successful coaching business, but that was a shift for me that kind of opened up a whole new arena of work, of coaching, of expanding. And a few years later I ended up doing my master's in psychology. But I think it's something that a lot of men don't realize until later on in life, and it's a bit sad in that sense. It's sad that the awareness of these things can't be opened more.